Jaclyn Hill has been the centre of attention all over Instagram after launching a new collection which was featured on Ulta's official Instagram, and the comment section went crazy. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is John Cookie and this is Cookie Tea. I hope you are firmly sat down with the titties firmly strapped in because the tea is extra spicy today. Jaclyn Hill, beauty YouTuber originally from Illinois, Tampa, Florida, somewhere around that region, about 30 years old nowadays, found herself in a huge controversy. Now, this is the queen of lipstick gate. You may remember, I feel like I said that a bit strange then for some reason. These lipsticks that were found with the white fluff on them, people thought there was mold growing inside them, there was bits inside them. It was a huge drama, huge controversy. People emailed for refunds, their emails were bouncing back. It was a huge drama when it happened, especially considering Jaclyn Hill isn't sort of new to the beauty community and trying to get onto the cosmetics ladder. She's an OG that's been here for at least 8 years now, if not 10 years. And she's always had significant revenue from the internet in the form of affiliate links, most greatly from Morphe. And we're talking in excess of, often we imagine from our predictions, over $100,000 per month at some point, because she's on a higher commission than everyone else from our understanding of how things work. So, because everyone else gets 10% commission on sales, but she gets 15% allegedly because of her relationship with Morphe when they were just beginning, because she helped them get up in the first couple of years of their brand. So definitely it's hugely drama and controversial that she launched her own brand after selling so many other brands' products on YouTube on behalf of them with affiliate links and stuff like that. And then it looked like minimal effort was put in. And in addition to the launch being a little bit of a disaster, Marlena, the CEO of Makeup Geek, who had some beef with Jaclyn in the past because Marlena started manufacturing a palette with Jaclyn, and then apparently Jaclyn went radio silent and stopped working with them. And then suddenly, a while after, Jaclyn releases a very similar palette that she was making with Makeup Geek with Morphe. So it looks like she'd worked with Makeup Geek for the research and development. Makeup Geek provided all the shadows, made the adjustments, and then she just took the palette to Morphe and they made it instead. That's what it looks like from the original Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette years and years ago. So very controversial. But Marlena came forward and said that despite all the drama that happened in the past between Jaclyn and Marlena was actually in the same lab that Jaclyn was in at the same time. And I think she said she walked past her, or she was aware she was in the building. And basically Marlena said that she gave Jaclyn a warning by text message to say, hey, I just want you to know, I also ordered samples from this factory, and when I received the samples, they were covered in hair, they were unhygienic, they were very low quality. I just want to give you a heads up. So Marlena says that she actually warned Jaclyn before Jaclyn even started working with this factory to manufacture with them. So it seems like Jaclyn should have known what was happening, right? It seems like it's a big factory and they have 4 big lines, but then they also have a back building for the smaller lines, and it seems like the back building was being used. That's the kind of understanding that we've got of the situation. So anyway, why did this drama kick off? A lot of the drama was focused on Jaclyn Hill's appearance, which is obviously very negative. We don't condone that, but a lot of it was focused on the makeup. Jaclyn did do a video addressing this, so why don't we talk about it? A couple of comments that were left on the Instagram. Why does this company enable this woman commenting towards Ulta? Like, why is Ulta enabling Jaclyn Hill to do this? Not only for the quality control issues, but also from people complaining from the shade range of it not being inclusive, because there wasn't very many deep shades whatsoever in the powders and stuff like that, which we did talk about in a previous video on my channel. You can go back and watch it. Very juicy video, spicy tea. Jessie Made It said, this is why you don't add 40 pounds of filler to your face when you're so young. So that comment got a lot of hate actually, because people were being very controversial towards that. Now, obviously in the beauty community, we generally have a policy that you don't tend to attack, there's lots of things you can attack. You can attack people's makeup, you can attack people's aesthetic. Let's be honest, this is a pretty toxic industry. Let's not pretend it's like an ultra positive kind place. It's pretty cutthroat actually, but at the same time we don't tend to shame people like that. Like, we don't tend to shame people for their natural features usually. Like, people tend to shame for botched features or botched surgeries or bad makeup or shaved eyebrows or bald heads. Like, we're all very okay with that. I think it's like shade, right? And it's kind of just part of the community. It's a toxic place, like I said before. But yeah, attacking someone's personal appearance is slightly different. And I guess with filler it's the same, but to be brutally honest, if we put a side-by-side photograph, because obviously this is not negative towards Jaclyn whatsoever, what people decide to do with their body is completely their choice. And I think, using the clown emoji is mean in this emoji, in this conversation, but people are right to notice there is a difference in Jaclyn Hill's face, because this is what she looked like previously back in 2011, I think, when she first started a beauty channel, and this is what she looks like now in 2021. So 10 years difference, but Jaclyn, has been very open about her use of filler. There was recently a photograph or video posted on Instagram of a family sat around the table while she was getting filler or something. But she's absolutely experimented with filler a lot over the years. And that's people, I think it's almost fair play, like, from not me saying it's fair play, but generally from my perspective of watching people, it tends to be fair play to people for people to comment on each other's filler in a critical manner, because it's like a modification almost. But when it comes to like attacking and using mean emojis, it's a bit different, right? So I kind of get it, it's a bit mean. The next comment is Jackie Mall, her cheeks and her lipstick. So again, people getting creeped out by the cheeks and the lipstick, because I think the filler has dropped down a bit over the years as it's been filled up, and it's dropped and it's filled and it's dropped. Coco Kel said she's just weird now. Mari Poser said, no, she's a con. Please stop promoting her so-called makeup line. Again, like, I don't think those are unreasonable comments considering the scale of lipstick gate, right? Considering how this, you know, this product just appeared to have absolutely no quality control. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not normal. And I think people are right to have a, you know, a distaste towards the brand after such an event could occur with this kind of quality issue. My point being, quality control is at the forefront of every serious brand. I don't know any brand personally that would order stock and not check it. Maybe some of the drugstore brands actually in the past I've noticed have had quality control issues with shades not matching and stuff. But same with the lipstick colors. If we ever try and play with formulas and stuff like that, it's quality control all the time. It's the main word of the game. Like, how are you going to sell something to a customer if you haven't even made sure that you're happy with it and it's your name on the brand, right? So that's the whole controversy with Jaclyn Hill, and I don't think it's negative for people to have a negative opinion of the brand after what happened and the way that things were dealt with. The next comment is, I hate this woman, she's the definition of a scammer. You know, Jen, I think hate is a strong word. I think it's definitely interesting what people are saying. Jaclyn did respond to this on YouTube. She kicked off.
I'm gonna say it like it is. I'm sitting here like breathing so much and looking around the room and trying to think about like the right words and the perfect words, and I'm really sick of doing that. Like, I'm so sick of being like, okay, so how can I make this like, you know, watered down in a way where people aren't gonna get upset with me?
Can we just talk about this? I feel like this is a bit iconic, like Jaclyn Hill ranting about something and bitching about something, because she has this cycle of like bitching, putting on makeup, bitching, putting on makeup, right? And I feel like it's just funny because she's there with this half-finished bake across the face and these cheekbones carved out, and then she's just bitching with her hands in the air and everything. And it's just funny. It's just very... At least she's consistent, right? I do enjoy that about Jaclyn Hill.
What it really boils down to is when I saw those comments on Ulta, it broke me. It did. And I'm not trying to play the victim. And that's something that I have to speak up about. It's like, how come anytime somebody who has, you know, notoriety or, you know, a lot more followers than others, or, you know, thousands, millions, whatever it is, how come the second that they're hurt by something or they're being bullied, they're the victim all of a sudden? Like, just because people have followers doesn't mean that they're like any less human.
So I think what's difficult here is absolutely when it comes to attacking appearance, I completely get the, you know, it's people's feelings. But the difficulty here is if Jaclyn, as a multi-millionaire, launches a makeup brand and it looks like she half-arses it by the quality control issues, and then people on Ulta, like we showed, start calling her out on those quality control issues and calling out the brand and how she runs the company. That doesn't feel like bullying, and it doesn't feel like Jaclyn's the victim in that situation. Personally, for me, I think absolutely there's a ton of very negative, horrible bullying that happens on social media. That's absolutely no question about that. And I'm sure that there will have been some of that on this post as well, especially with some of the way that the comments about the filler were worded and stuff like that. I don't think you can play the victim for people criticizing it's not even a mistake. Like, you actively sold a product that was very, very bad. Like, you must have checked it, right? Like, that comes down to your responsibility. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of difficult, but at the same time, I get what she means about bullying comments and stuff like that. Absolutely, I get that.
It's awful. And to see it on such a large scale, it is so toxic. It's such toxic behavior. And I understand that people are going to say things, you know, like everyone, they're like, rise above it. Don't focus on the negative. I get it. I understand. I would say the same thing to my friend. I would say the exact same advice, and I try to tell it to myself. But every once in a while, you just have a break. It's like you can't take it anymore. You crack. You're like, and you have to cry it out. And that's normal. I am human. Everyone else on social media, we're humans. We are humans. Like, I am just so sick of not being treated like a normal 30-year-old girl.
I think what's difficult here is, I think in Jaclyn Hill's case, I feel like a lot of people see it as crime and punishment. I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but I think a lot of people see, you know, how much she's made from Morphe. She said that, you know, the Jaclyn Hill palette was one of the most successful eyeshadow palettes ever sold in the world when it launched. And with all of that under her belt, to still have these sorts of issues and stuff like that, and the never-ending controversies, like the Vault collection with the quality control issues. I think the original Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm sure there was something at one point, wasn't there, as well? Like they upped the quality halfway through for Ulta or something, and saying about the shades, oh, the price is increasing from Morphe's normal price because of how the pigment is pressed. And then Morphe released the formula and it was the same as one of their old formulas, and then they quickly changed it on the website and gave a statement saying it was a mistake. Like, there's been a lot of disingenuous behavior, and you know what? Consumers aren't stupid. So I do kind of feel a bit like people aren't going to treat you like a normal 30-year-old woman because you've not presented yourself in that way. Like, you've presented yourself and you've actively spoken about having one of the best-selling makeup palettes in the world. And, you know, all of it, I think, for a lot of people does center around money and finances and how loaded you are, right? And Jaclyn Hill sort of presented herself as a very loaded person. And when that's how you present yourself, people expect a certain standard from you because you can afford to have people quality controlling things. You can afford to have things manufactured properly. And when you try and sell an image of luxury and you're sending PR packages with lights built in and diamonds and stuff like that, but then your customers are getting a pretty cack product, I understand why people would be confrontational and why people would treat you as not just a random person on the street, because you're not just a person on the street. You've turned yourself into a corporation. You've put your name on a brand. You put your name on a product, and your name is no longer just a person, right? You have Jaclyn Hill makeup, like, that's a brand that people have an opinion of, whether it's good or bad for whatever reason. Do you see what I mean here? I think that's what's difficult. If Jaclyn launched a brand and it wasn't under the same name, I think people would be criticizing the name of the brand, right? Not Jaclyn Hill specifically. Do you see what I mean? Like, if people criticize Makeup Geek, owned by Marlena, for example, fair enough, she's not a huge influencer. She was back in the day. But they wouldn't say, oh, Marlena this, Marlena that. They would say Makeup Geek. Do you see what I'm saying with Anastasia? Like, when people say Anastasia, they mean Anastasia the brand.
It's so frustrating because when I was at my absolute lowest point on social media is when I was getting my most praise. That's when I was making the most money. That's when I was getting the most engagement. That's when I had the most views. That's when I had the most compliments. I mean, all of the above. That's when I was going to therapy 3 times a week. That's when I was severely depressed, beyond anxious. Anxious isn't even a word. Like, it was like, I mean, horrible, horrible anxiety.
Okay, Jaclyn's made a really bad mistake here. So she's almost said, like, it wasn't just anxiety, it was full on depression. Like, depression and anxiety are 2 completely different things. And one is, like, you can't say it wasn't just anxiety, it was even worse, it was depression. Like, it's kind of like saying apples and oranges, like, it's 2 completely different mental health disorders. So that's something that's a bit confusing. If you're going to so much therapy, you think you would know that there are 2 things that can coexist. Do you see what I mean? Like, you can be very anxious without depression, you can be very depressed without anxiety, or you can have both severely, or you can have neither. But yeah, it's interesting that, I just think that was interesting. I do kind of get it completely. I think it's one of those difficult things though, that maybe if you have 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers, I think people might give you a break in these sorts of situations. But when you have 6 million, 7 million subscribers, and you actively say to the internet that you sold one of the best-selling products of all time with your name on it, people are going to treat you as a corporation. They're going to treat you as a brand, and it won't just be your behavior that they judge, but also the products that you release. That counts as your behavior as a brand, right? So people have taken a disliking to Jaclyn Hill because all of these things that have happened over the years, which I'm not going to get into now, we've spoken about them before, but I think that's where a lot of the difficulty comes from. Do I condone the nasty filler comments of people just being full-blown mean and making, you know, nasty comments? No, not whatsoever. I don't think it's pretty behavior. I don't think it's positive behavior. I don't think it helps anyone or helps any situation. But I absolutely understand people being critical of her as a person and the brand that she leads after the years that it's been running for and the ongoing issues that it's had. And also, despite the issues that she's had, people are going to sort of attack her like she's on a pedestal, because she is on a pedestal. She's being sold in Ulta. It's one of the largest cosmetic retailers in the US after she's had one of the largest cosmetic scandals in the US. Do you see what I mean? So yes, people are probably going to make some comments and come after you, because there are people that work their asses off and sell quality products for years, building a reputable brand. And then you come through, you know, bustling with followers and subscribers and drama and low quality products that fail quality control. And you're in one of the biggest stores in the world, you know, and people are going to be funny about that. I make jokes all the time when I talk about this and say, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter, but you know what? There's a lot of people, not just people that own brands, but a lot of consumers that might look at that and think, you know what? Like, I've purchased from a small Instagram store that actually had an amazing product and they're not sold here. And like, yes, Jaclyn Hill's a name. Yes, she'll get people through the doors, but ultimately it's the makeup that people come for, right? If you remove the names from it, allow some of the smaller brands to provide that experience, not just the product experience, but the store experience. Instead of Jaclyn, I don't know if it's Jaclyn Hill's team that do the displays, or maybe Ulta's even doing it for them, who knows? But if a chance was given to those brands, you never know what could happen. You could have an entire new generation of makeup that comes through that by far surpasses the previous makeup and raises the standard of what people expect from quality, morals, ethic, sustainability, all very important. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, where does that fit into the current brands that we see being sold? A lot of the OG brands or the Jaclyn brands and all of that. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just drama and it's filler and it's YouTube and it's controversy and it's lipstick gate and it's, I don't know where to go with it. Do you see what I mean? It's people, it's almost like it's not one of the negatives of the world. It's not like the big, corporations doing horrible things to people that you sometimes see in pharmaceutical industry and stuff like that. It's not like that. But at the same time, it is one of the big guys getting away with something that the little guys wouldn't get away with, right? Now, to add on to this, Jafar decided to step in. This is quite interesting. We spoke about this a few years ago. So for anyone that doesn't know, Jaclyn, when she spoke to me ages ago, told me, allegedly, that Jeffree Star, basically, when he didn't even know her that well, I think they might have met only once or twice, and they hadn't really spoken, called her up crying when the whole Kat Von D scandal happened, and Kat Von D basically dragged Jeffree on social media and he had to sit down and film an apology video and he was panicking and it was just very, very dramatic. So Jaclyn basically told me that like she didn't know him, it's very awkward and she thought he had no friends because he was reaching out to her and they literally didn't even know each other. But now, they've teamed up together. There was also a whole drama a while ago where, the year that Jaclyn was doing her palette, Jeffree had sneak peeked a Morphe brush collection and then it was never released. And one of the rumours that was brought to me from someone that worked inside Morphe, Jaclyn had basically said that this was her year for Morphe and she didn't want any other significant influencers releasing products because she wanted this to be her time, which is very interesting. So obviously the year after was James. Do you see what I mean? So it's definitely very, very interesting. Jaclyn tweeted that video out and said, "I know I've been absent on socials for a few days. I've been going through it emotionally. I need to make this video and address several things and have a conversation with you. Please, blah, blah, blah." And then Jeffree quote tweeted, it's like people kissing their own asses at this point. I'm sorry, is it just me that thinks that? Jafar said, "Please watch this. So raw and real. Love you, Jaclyn. You're forever beautiful and so beyond talent. You paved the way for the YouTube beauty space." What kind of way are we talking? Jafar and Jaclyn are probably two of the biggest reasons why a lot of people left the beauty space because they were just sick of the drama and buying crappy products that were marketed, as being amazing quality and stuff like that. Do you see what I mean? These two people almost feel like two of the biggest driving factors between people, having a disingenuous attitude towards influencers and not really feeling safe buying products. I'm not saying it's only them two, but Jaclyn was one of the biggest Morphe pushers, right, back in the day. Do you remember? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Jaclyn quote tweeted and just responded, "Thank you, Jeffree. I know it's not easy to be a fellow influencer in this community and support me. Your kindness is very appreciated." I don't know what they're talking about because I think the only reason Jeffree's involved is because his engagement has dropped massively recently. People have lost interest in him, right? And we've seen the products being liquidated. So it seems like a lot of people, do you remember we used to say back in the day, it's like these people sort of stand up on each other, and other big influencers that were in this circle said, "You know what? I fell off the train of people that are climbing, but one day that tower's going to fall because it's not sustainable the way that they climb off each other and the whole thing's going to crash down." And it seems like that's what's happening. It seems like Jaclyn Hill, the reputation caught up with her from the antics that she was getting away with. All the drama with Jeffree, it appears that people just suddenly lost interest in giving him extra chances. And it seems like, Manny, when was the last time you heard anyone talk about Manny or Laura Lee, for example? They were such big names like only a few years ago, right? But I think the beauty community is at a point of saturation where it's beginning to purge itself. And I think it's becoming tired and frustrated with the way things were being run. There were so many aspiring beauty influencers and makeup artists that wanted to have a chance to show their artistry or their passion or even just their humor. And they didn't have the opportunity for that because YouTube would only really favour the huge content creators, which is another thing don't get me into. I've been here for many years and I love YouTube as a company, but it's a very anti-creator platform. It causes a lot of stress. I've genuinely debated once or twice moving on to a different platform like Patreon because I think I would be a lot happier producing content without the stress of how the YouTube model works and how they treat channels. And it's just, take it from me as a creator, having created videos very frequently, most on and off like the past 4 to 5 years, and longer than that before that. It's a very stressful platform to exist on. From what I understand, TikTok is way better, like a much more happier place, and I think a lot of people have moved there as well. But obviously my type of content, I like to sit down and bitch, and TikTok videos are a bit too short for that. Anyway, let me know what you think about this entire situation. I'm very interested to hear what you think. I think it's interesting seeing what's happened. I definitely don't condone internet bullying. There's no excuse for it. And often the same people do it to different people. It's not fun. I've had it done to me before in the past. It's happened to lots of other people. And I think it's just one of those things that's unnecessary. I don't think anyone really benefits from it. The people doing it get a little high for like a few minutes and then they feel down again. And the people receiving the hate, again, are kind of just a bit like, there's not really anything they can do to help it, because often it's talking about historical stuff as well. So I kind of get it, but I think Jaclyn's got away with so much over the years. I do feel a bit like it's a bit of a kick in the teeth to everyone to see a product being sold in Ulta, right? If it was a smaller store or something, people wouldn't care. But for it to be Ulta, after everything that's happened with Morphe, with Jeffree, with all the various dramas and scandals, and it does just make people feel a bit like, really, this girl is still being given chances above the other people, the other makeup artists, the other brands, the other influencers. Do you see what I mean? But ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see. If the product doesn't sell, Ulta probably won't stock it for very long, right? Or they'll keep her as a name because it's, you know, she's a big name on social media. But I don't think we should wish negative on anyone. I don't think we benefit from hoping other people fail or hoping other people don't do well. But I do completely agree with the idea of being critical against brands' decisions, whether it's Jaclyn's decision, Ulta's decision, anyone else's decision to do certain things. I think people are within their rights to talk about that publicly, right? In a respectful way. So anyway, I want to say a huge thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash the like button every time we do Teach Flies firmly into space. I do have my cycle channel down below, which I'm just trying out for views and stuff. It's called Spicy Beauty Tea. You can subscribe if you want to. Very much appreciate it. I also have my ASMR channel, which I'm posting like 1 video a week on right now. It's very fun. I'll leave that link down below as well. I want to say a huge thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.